Welcome to Crystal Fact TV. Today on Crystal Fact TV, we discuss the predictions of coronavirus outbreak long before the outbreak. 1. Author Dean Koontz. Dean Koontz wrote a novel called The Eyes of Darkness, originally published in 1981, describing a killer virus. In the book, the virus has a 100% mortality rate. In a later paragraph, the character goes on to say that no one infected with the virus survives. Wuhan 400, as the virus was called, has other equally important advantages over most biological agents. For one, you can become an infectious carrier only 4 hours after coming in contact with the virus. That's an incredibly short gestation period. Once infected, no one lives more than 24 hours. Most die in 12. Wuhan 400 kill rate is 100%. In the screenshot page from the novel, a character named Dombi narrates a story about a Chinese scientist who brought a biological weapon called Wuhan 400 to the United States. Dombi said that a Chinese scientist named Li Chen defected to the United States carrying a discrete record of China's most important and dangerous new biological weapon. They call the stuff Wuhan 400 because it was developed at their rDNA lab outside the city of Wuhan. This biological weapon was called Goki 400 in reference to a Russian locality. The name of the weapon was changed to Wuhan 400 when the book was released again in 1989. According to the South China Morning Post, both Wuhan 400 and coronavirus broke out in Wuhan, China. 2. American philanthropist and co-founder of Microsoft Corporation has long been warning of the potential for a deadly pandemic. During the 2015 Vancouver TED conference, which took place towards the end of the 2014 to 2016 Ebola epidemic in West Africa, he explained why we weren't prepared for it. While giving his speech at TED Talk in 2015, he underlined how the next big disaster to strike humanity would be due to microbes and not a nuclear war. Moreover, Gates stated that once this viral disaster hits population around the world, we will be massively underprepared for it. Unfortunately for us, he was right. What is interesting is that Gates pointed out that globally we have invested a lot in warfare and how to handle the situation if a war were to break out. However, we have invested very little in the case that an epidemic could break out. The problem wasn't that there was a system that didn't work well enough. The problem was that we didn't have a system at all, he said. 3. In May 1989, Nobel Joshua Lederberg gathered fellow Nobelists and a roster of extraordinary virus hunters for a 3-day meeting in Washington to consider a then bold hypothesis that viruses, far from being vanquished by modern medicine, were actually surging worldwide in animals and people, often in forms of never previously seen. And air travel increasingly meant that an outbreak in an obscure location could spread to large cities and even make its way around the world. The National Academy of Science Institute of Medicine was sufficiently shaken by the meeting that it delved further beyond the kingdom of virus to all microbial threats, and in 1992 published a call to arms, a report that drew sufficient interest at US presidential Bill Clinton's White House to prompt the formal classification of emerging disease as national security threats in 1996. In 1994, the book titled The Coming Plague was published, Newly Emerging Disease in a World Out of Balance, arguing that human disruptions of the global environment, coupled with behavior that readily spread microbes between people and from animals to humans, guaranteed a global surge in epidemics, even an enormous pandemic. And in 2000, a book titled Betrayal of Trust was published. The collapse of public health demonstrated that outbreaks were aided and abetted by in-depth health systems, human behaviors, and the complete lack of consistent political and financial support for diseases fighting preparedness everywhere in the world. 4. Former President Barack Obama warned the nation in 2014 about the potential for a coming pandemic and pushed for billions in emergency funding that was ultimately blocked by the Republicans in Congress. In speech on December 2nd that year in Bethesda, Maryland, Obama urged Congress to set aside partisan differences and pass funding to combat pandemics in the future. There may and likely will come a time in which we have both an airborne disease that is deadly, and in order for us to deal with that effectively, we have to put in place an infrastructure not just here at home but globally that allows us to see it quickly, isolate it, respond to it quickly, so that if and when a new strain of flu like the Spanish flu crops up 5 years from now or a decade from now, we have made the investment and we are further along to be able to catch it. Nearly a month earlier, on November 5th, 2014, Obama asked lawmakers for $6.18 billion in emergency funds to enhance the government's ability to respond to an outbreak of Ebola, which was an urgent situation at the time. Obama's request included $4.64 billion for immediate response and $1.54 billion as a contingency fund to ensure that there are resources available to meet the evolving nature of the epidemic. But in an abstract conversation, Congress with little appetite for big spending measures, Obama's proposal was pretty much dead on arrival. 5. They will create virus themselves and pretend to take their time to find solution when they already have it. Muammar Abu Gaddafi. As coronavirus reaches the African continent and threatens to overwhelm East Africa, is having to fight against the arrival of COVID-19 with the world's largest concentration of people with HIV, which is another global pandemic. The outbreak of the coronavirus has seen a lot of blame games between the United States of America and China. The Chinese are blaming America for the spread of the virus. The Deputy Director of Foreign Ministry Information Department and spokesperson for China's Foreign Ministry, Zhao Linjian, tweeted that it might be the US Army that brought the coronavirus to China, while Donald Trump, President of the United States, also constantly referred to COVID-19 as Chinese virus. Trump quite clearly crossed out corona before virus and replaced it with the word Chinese. That attempting narrative shifted beyond question. What appears to be up for some debate is whether or not Trump's rhetorical change reflects him simply using proper geographic labeling. The coronavirus did emerge from the Wuhan province, or whether it is part of a broader attempt to drive xenophobia sentiment towards China. In the wake of this back and forth, our research team came across a very strong statement made by Muammar Abu Gaddafi, a former revolutionary Libyan president and Pan-Africanist. In a speech delivered during his prime years and leadership, Gaddafi stated that there are people who specialize in creating health problems just to make money irrespective of the danger it poses to human existence. According to him, they will create the virus themselves and they will sell the antidote afterwards, pretending to take their time to find the solution when they already have it. This moment of COVID-19, the pandemic spreading across, killing many people, coupled with the margin accusation, is the right time to start a conversation on these thoughts of Gaddafi, especially when the virus has started spreading in Africa. Colonel Muammar Gaddafi has always been that leader who finds it very difficult to believe in the truthfulness of the people who once decided to share and invade the territories of Africa, loot resources to build their nation, and brutalize its people. In addition, known to be very protective of the African culture, a promoter of African unity, and a strong critic of foreign ideologies, and the manner and strategies with which the powers manipulating the world has never held back on his words when speaking against social ills. Many of the things Gaddafi used to be critical about in the past, most of which were ignored, seem to be manifesting today. This is why we'll be rounding it up on Crystal Fact TV. If you like this video, please subscribe for more Crystal Facts only on Crystal Fact TV.